praise you and I thank you for this opportunity. And I give you all the glory and honor in Jesus' name. Amen. Yeah, how do you follow the worship band like that? I mean, they've gotten so much better. I've been here for 4.5 years. I want to give you a brief little testimony about myself, and it's not about me tonight, but it's about what God has done and what God can do. I was in the same boat, if not in a worse boat, than a lot of you. I'm sure there was worse guys than me, but at the same time, God has transformed my life. I'm living proof that this is doable, guys. We're going to be in 1 Samuel, the story, a very familiar story of David and Goliath. But I want to tell you a little bit about myself because every time I read this passage, I think of that giant that David faced. Not only David, that was the one that took up the fight, but there was a lot of people, a lot of soldiers, if you will, there at the ready to fight, but they were locked in fear, much like I'm right now, more nervous than fear. But nevertheless, it was a giant. And I want to ask you guys, if you guys could examine your heart, if you will, what giants are you facing tonight? Because we all face them. But which ones are you facing? The story of David and Goliath, winning the battles against your giants. And as I said, 4.5 years ago, God blessed me with a second of clarity. I had been saved a long time, but running from God, running from His calling on my life. And it really wasn't any of my doing that got me here to the house of Luke into this church. It was really, truly God's grace, and I don't, and I can't, and I will never take any glory from that. Because I was so far gone. Much like some of us in this congregation tonight. Some of us are battling some real big enemies. Real big giants, if you will. First Samuel, if you want to turn to the text we're going to be reading, is 1 Samuel 17. And it talks about the story of David and Goliath. And it talks about how these two enemies were facing off each other. And how Goliath would start every morning and start every night by taunting God's army. Now, if you could just imagine and try to picture yourself there, that scene of God's army, God's people, and the enemy, this giant, this Goliath, calling you out, by name almost. And what it did, he taunted God's people, starting in the morning. He did it for 40 days. And I often thought, what's taunting me this morning? What reminds me that I'm probably not going to do this? I'm probably going to fail. I've messed up. I'm probably going to always mess up. You know, that giant speaks to me every morning. It's so faithful to remind me of my past. But God is more faithful to remind me of my future. And there lies the hope. The hope of what? On this side of the grave, of just to exist? I don't think so. These giants can and will fall with God's power. But we have to not only believe it, but we have to live in victory. Now we all know that God came and conquered death on the cross for us. And I pray that everybody in this room is saved. But then what happens, church? You know, one of the big giants in my life was comfort. And I believe that's one of the biggest ones in this church, if not in Christianity. It's comfort. Let somebody else do it. I'm not built for that. I'm certainly not capable of that. But there's different giants, and one is fear. Fear of failing, fear of not being able to do what, say, another brother or sister can do. But as we read this story of David and Goliath, we come up to David, a boy at the time, and not only did he hear these words of taunting, but he took some action. And that's what I would want for each one of us to examine our lives. No matter where you're at, whether you're at one of the homes or you're living your daily life, God not only has a purpose for you, we need to find that out and to live that. This is doable, guys. Now, I'm not the only one here that, by God's grace, that is trying to do this. I know there's some other people here that are actually living a successful Christian life. And when I mean a successful Christian life, it doesn't mean that I don't mess up. But every single day we get up and fight. Fight that giant that's facing you. And some of these giants, just like Goliath, I'm sure, as you would read the story, and it's a long chapter, it's over 58, 59 verses. So for time's sake, I'm not going to read them all. But the gist of the story is that Goliath called out God's people. Now, these were soldiers that were called out. The Bible refers to us as Christian soldiers. Are we going to take up that call? Because we're being called out day and night. I know I'm being called out every single day by my giants, if you will. And some of us have similar giants. Some of us have 2 or 3 that seem to never leave us, seem to never let us go, always want to remind us of our past. But as Satan or our adversary is so faithful in reminding us, God's Word also reminds us of not only our future, but our present. See, sometimes I believe that some of us get so far ahead of ourselves that we forget about today. Pastor Mark's message Sunday was, today is a day. Yesterday was history, today is a future. Are you fighting today? Are you in the battle? Are you taking up the fight against your personal giant? Now, these giants and ridiculing and insulting God's people, I'm sure Goliath was real good at it. He knew what buttons to push. But it takes the shepherd boy, right? The least of his family, the smallest one of his brothers, to say, hey, wait a minute, hey, Saul, let's take care of business. Now, you guys know the story? Saul equips him with his armor. He can't walk. He can't take a step. He can't fight with that. That just goes to show that within ourselves, we can't fight and we can't win this battle against these giants. These giants are way too strong for us. So what does David do? Or does? He takes it off. And what does he do? The 2 things that he knew he had with him and for him was God and his little slingshot. Not that the slingshot compared to Goliath's weapons was anything in comparison, but the one thing that he had, not only in his mind and his heart, was God is on my side. And if there's anything you guys remember tonight, That's the pivotal point of your fight. You and yourself, or me and myself, we will lose. Now, the Bible later on in 1 Peter 5:8 describes our ultimate adversary as a devil. Described him as a roaring lion, actually. And yes, he is defeated, but yes, he's still around. So if you have the opportunity to take care of some of these personal giants in your life, don't think for 1 second they're not going to try to get back up. I'm reminded of a story of a snake. That if you were to cut a venomous snake's head off and not bury it, and even if you were to bury it, don't step on it, because it could still pack a punch because of the venom that's still lodged in its fangs. So in practical terms, it says in verse 5, James 4:7, to resist the devil. Don't step on the head. So these giants will come back. So tonight we're going to see how the story of David and Goliath shows us how to take these giants down. And they can be taken down. First, by not focusing on the size of your problem or your giant. But needless to say, some of us in this room are faced with some big giants. Huge giants. Multiple giants. But don't focus on the size of your problem, rather focus on the size of your God. How big is your God in comparison to your problem? Some of us think the worst. If I have a cold, it's going to turn into a flu, and if it's a flu, it's going to turn into death. We're always thinking the worst. And that's one of the tricks of the enemy. But focusing on the size of our God rather than on the height or size of our giants is the first thing. The second thing is by walking and believing in victory. How does that happen? Is it mere wishful thinking? I don't think so. I wrote down a couple of things about hope and what the dictionary says about hope. And even one thing that I wrote down here, I hope I don't mess this up. I hope I don't make any sense, or I hope I do make sense. But the thing is, hope in the Bible, in Lamentations, it says that I have to remind myself, I have to bring it back into memory that God is a God of hope. Some of us operate and live almost by reaction. It's almost by instinct. You know, animals live by an innate nature. They're more reactive. They don't think, they just do what they have to do. But we're not animals. God gives us not only the game plan of how to do this and when to do this, but more importantly, He gives us the power and the strength to do these things. Secondly, in Romans 15:3, we want to turn to that one up and really minister to me. Romans 15:13, excuse me. It says, now, may the God of hope fill you with joy and peace in believing, that you may abound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. There again lies hope. You know, hope is a thing that is either a wishful thought or even a wish for the best, hope for the best, as some phrases kind of use that word. That you're just hoping for the best outcome. Well, with God, not only is that a side note, like it says here that may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing. Do you know there is an actual peace in believing God? There's a joy that comes from believing in God. Now, if I were to ask a question, does everybody believe? Now I would say 99 out of 100 people would say, yes, I believe. Well, according to this verse, it should be coupled with joy, with hope. Where's my joy? Where's my hope? Where's yours? Is it just going through the motions? You know, I often tell the guys at the house, if you are living, if you're going through the motions and not gaining ground, spiritual ground, this will become a grind. This will become an ordinary, everyday situation. And I believe with all my heart that tonight, Tuesday, August the 23rd, lies the opportunity for joy, for peace, that God will give you this hope in believing. Other adversaries that are very common to us Christians, like I mentioned, fear, rejection, anger, addictions. But the one I want to concentrate for a few minutes is comfort, like I mentioned earlier. Comfort is one that is so sneaky. It'll have you sit down, come to church, do nothing, and think it's okay. Now, I know God raised each and every one of us to have a part in this body. Each one of us are talented in some way. Now, as I'm doing this, I think of Pastor Pete and Pastor Mark and Pastor Zach and Pastor Tom and even Pastor Tony, how they get up here and it's so easy to do. But I'm sure as Pastor Pete is looking at me right now, isn't it funny? I was expecting and actually hoping, I hope not too many people come out tonight. And then I see Pastor Pete, I go, oh my God. And then I see my other brothers come and I'm thinking, great God, I wanted it to be just a few people. Get by, get this one under my belt, and the next time I'll do better. And I believe I will do better, not because it's me. Again, it's not me that is conquering this fear right now. And I'm a little nervous, but I'm getting over it. But I can guarantee you, as God is in my heart, you give me another opportunity like this, and I'm going to turn it up. It's going to get better. I'm going to get stronger. Again, I was telling Pastor Tom, man, at the house I could go for a half an hour easy. I'm going to be hard-pressed to go 20 minutes. He goes, Robert, just talk. God will give you. Now, as you can see, I put my notes away. I go by notes, but my style was more, I would say, a couple key notes and then let God fill the rest in. But I thought, I better not try that because I'm gonna end up not saying nothing. But I can guarantee you, as God is our witness, that if God will give me another opportunity, just like in life with practice, our Christian life is but practicing. We practice sin pretty good, and some of us are real good at it. And I'll be the one to raise both of my hands. Man, I was a pro at it. I was an all-star. First team. But now, what about my Christian life? Is it when I was just a sinner that I put it all in? What about now? And this would be my encouragement to us. Good, I made a half an hour. I didn't think I was going to make a half an hour, but this is my encouragement to us. Whatever giant you're facing, might be 5 foot, might be 10 foot, like Goliath was said to be 9 or 10 feet tall. Whatever the size of your giant, don't feed it. Kind of like the analogy of the spirit and the flesh. I'm sure most of you have heard this analogy of this one guy, a man that wanted to win a serious bet. So he found some dog fights. And he went up to the owner and said, hey, I want to put some serious money this weekend on your best dog. Which one is it? He goes, well, I got 2 champs that really have never lost. They're killers. Well, which one's going to win? He goes, well, it's kind of hard to say. He goes, well, I need an assurance from you because I'm putting some serious money on them. So they kind of put their heads together, and the owner goes, well, I'll just starve one and feed the other one. Much like our spirits, guys, this is not, how can I put this? I know this is a hard life, a hard Christian road. But it is a good fight to get involved in. You have to practice, we have to practice. We have to put into action what we know. I often tell the guys that if we were to never hear another sermon with the amount of information that we've received, we should be teaching by memory. But yet I still fumble around for a name or a date or a verse. And that's it. I've been here 4.5 years. I should know this backwards and forwards. We all should know more. The point is, practice what we preach and what we learn. So that fight came up, right? The guy puts so much money on this one dog. The dog wins. Everybody's astonished that this other dog lost. Well, of course, he didn't tell anybody what he had done. But you guys know that if you starve your flesh, it will get weak. It won't be up for the fight. You know, I often tell the guys at the home, some guys ask me, hey, Rob, do you not get tempted anymore? You go home for the weekends, and how do you do it? As if I know a secret. As if I know something you don't know. I ain't got nothing on you. But the one thing that I do know for a fact is that I need help today. The one thing about David that I always have appreciated, God calls him a man after his own heart, and we know his track record. He did some crazy things, much like some of us. But yet God calls him a man after his own heart. David said that God loves a broken and contrite heart. How's your heart tonight? Is it in need of repair? That's what helps me. And I believe it could help each one of us. If we are in a state of mind of needing repair, restoration, every single day, and if we're on point or walking in the Spirit, we're more apt to stay close to God, knowing that we need His help. If not, my mind will wander. My heart wants to. As I read this morning in Proverbs where it said, to not envy sinners, but to be zealous for the fear of the Lord. Our heart wants to envy sin. It does. Jeremiah says that we have a desperate a desperate and wicked heart. Who can know it? Well, we better know the state of our heart. It wants to leave. It wants to wander. But I believe that's what David had. God gave him that insight that, man, I need repair today. Not tomorrow. Pastor Mark was saying about today is the day of salvation. We better get on it today. Who knows what tomorrow holds? Who knows if I'm going to die tonight? Who knows if any of us are going to live past today into tomorrow? Tomorrow's a gift. All that to say, guys, that this story, if you were to read it, there's so many similarities. There's so many ways that parallel with our life right now. Look at David. He was but a kid. He was outmatched. But yet, he had the courage that God gave him to fight this battle. So that's my prayer tonight. That if there's anything going on in your heart, anything, it could be this small right now. If you give it some life, you give it some strength, you give it some power, it's going to get big. Knock it down. It can be put down. Stop giving it life. That's my prayer for tonight for everybody. That we would examine our hearts. We would ask God, please help us. Nobody might know what's going on in our hearts, and we're pretty good at that. We keep things to ourselves because they've heard. You know, I'll be honest with you guys. There's always something that keeps on us, right? And it may not be a particular sin, but just something that hurt you a long time ago. That pain will paralyze you. That pain will follow you. It's time to deal with it, guys. I know what pain does. I've been in pain for such a long time. So I always ask God every day, please. Not that He hasn't forgiven me. Again, it's not maybe a sin. It's something that happened to us as children, as young people. Somebody hurt us or we hurt somebody. And the devil would love to have us in that state of mind, that paralyzed state. Don't tell nobody. Don't expose it, because then what would people think of you? Again, I'm not asking you to come up here and confess sins. You do that with God. But the pain that follows us if we don't take care of it will drag us down. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, I do thank you for this opportunity again. And Lord, I ask that your Holy Spirit would work in each one of our lives. Prayers that are unspoken and just so hard to even imagine or think or realize, let alone mention. Lord, you know what's in each one of our hearts. You know the pains that we've all experienced through life. Life is not fair. The devil would make us think that we deserve. This is life. Lord, help us to change our mind. Help us to change our thinking. Knowing that, Lord, not only do you bring victory, but on this side of the grave you bring joy and blessings. Help us to, Lord, call on your name. Help us not to stay the same. Help tonight be the springboard for a closer relationship with you. Lord, I pray this for all my brothers and sisters in this church. Lord, that they will find the time, if it's a minute that they have in their busy lives, is a minute well spent with you. Lord, you would desire for us to spend so much time with you because of our busyness or our schedules, or just our fear or pain, we don't call on you. Lord, I pray tonight, sometime tonight, as we go home and maybe we meditate for a second, If it's just a minute that we have, Lord, I pray that you would increase that tomorrow with maybe another minute. Please increase our time with you. Please help us change our mind that we need you. Again, thank you so much for this time. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Can I get you guys to stand up, please?